When I think of Fallout, the first thing that comes to mind is the V.A.T.S system, but does it stand out for the right reasons? Did it fix the gunplay like they intended? V.A.T.S, or the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System, is meant to simulate the body part targeting systems of Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics. In those games, you could spend an extra action point on your turn to aim at a specific body part to inflict an injury that would help you the most in that fight. Bethesda decided to keep the limb targeting idea when making Fallout 3, but ran into the problem of how you do that in an action RPG. The older Fallout games were turn-based. It made sense to have a menu where you select a body part because there wasn't action to pause. So why would you implement that in an action RPG? At the time, mostly to patch up holes in the game. If you gave the footage of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas to someone who hasn't played them, they'd probably tell you they look like the same game, but if you played them yourself, you'll know just how much better the gunplay feels in New Vegas. We can probably chalk this one up to Bethesda being new to gun combat at the time, but you can't aim down your iron sights in Fallout 3. You just kinda zoom your head in. This seemingly minor detail actually really hurt the game considering it came out in 2008, when there was stiff competition in first-person shooters. It doesn't help that in Fallout 3, the bullet spread on a lot of guns, especially early game guns, was just too much. It's frustrating to completely miss a shot when you're clearly aiming correctly. I mean, even the creator of the game, Todd Howard himself, admitted that the gunplay wasn't any good, and called in id Software, the creators of Doom, to help out with Fallout 4. To try and patch it up, Bethesda leaned on the RPG side of the game, and it came up with V.A.T.S, allowing you to rely less on the first-person shooting and more on your skill points. This allows both old Fallout players who still feel like the new game is an RPG, as well as for players completely new to first-person shooters but who love Elder Scrolls games, to not be put off by Fallout 3's outer shell as a first-person shooter. This focus on V.A.T.S as a solution to otherwise poor gun combat had a lot of unintended side effects, both good and bad. For the good, it had a ton of media attention because V.A.T.S looked so cool. It paused the real-time action, giving it a nice classic computer, black and green aesthetic, gave you all the satisfying beeps and blips of Fallout games of the past, and then gave you a cinematic view as you blow up people's heads like Gallagher at a watermelon patch. It also took attention away from the poor real-time combat controls, even if you might have had a rough transition back into gameplay at times due to viewing the cinematic camera angles rather than focusing on exactly where you were standing when you started V.A.T.S. The downsides, though, were major. The biggest problem that V.A.T.S caused in Fallout 3 itself was that it was so powerful, it didn't feel good to not use it, but it also felt tiring if you kept using it. In Fallout 3, you only took 10% of normal damage when in V.A.T.S, making you nearly invincible. You could actually go into V.A.T.S when someone throws a grenade at you and just tank the explosion. It also increased your critical hit chance by 15%, making those head-popping moments even more common. But when you have a button that makes you nearly invincible and drastically raises the damage you deal with next to zero effort, why wouldn't you use it? It's like the physical shield spell in Fable the Lost Chapters. If you don't use it, you feel handicapped and tempted to use it. If you use it, you're really bored, because it takes all the challenge out of the game. There's nothing a game can do to make you lose interest as fast as making the core game mechanics easy and boring. Thankfully, V.A.T.S got refined over the years, like how in New Vegas they drastically raised the damage you take in V.A.T.S from 10% to 75%, and in Fallout 4 it doesn't pause time and you can bank critical hits. It does make selecting specific body parts harder, but it makes you feel like you aren't invincible when you activate it. It doesn't feel like you've been taken out of the fight, and it only becomes powerful if you invest the perk points into making it powerful. It becomes an alternative way to play, rather than the assumed way to play, much like picking between a warrior and a mage in a traditional fantasy RPG. So did V.A.T.S fix the gunplay? It may have had a really rough start, but it patched up the holes great in recent games. It brought new people into the series at a pivotal point, it helped people who weren't into FPSs get into the series that normally wouldn't appeal to them, and it provided a gameplay experience that is genuinely unique to the modern Fallout series. At the end of the day, if you ask people to say the first thing that comes to mind when you say Fallout, they probably say either Pip-Boy or V.A.T.S. Speaking of Pip-Boys, if you'd like to watch more, check out Stolly's fantastic video on how to make your very own Pip-Boy here on Shoddycast. There'll be a card in the top right linking to it. Do you personally think that the V.A.T.S system is good? And how would you improve it if you were in charge? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, let me know how I did. I'm Mah-Dry-Bread, a YouTuber of 7 years, but I'm new to this channel and this type of video, so let me know how you think I could improve. If you love what we do here on Shoddycast, tap that like button and ring the subscriber bell to make sure you get notified whenever Shoddycast puts up its newest video. And I'd like to thank you personally, because this series is possible because of you Shoddycast patrons. If you haven't already, check out our Patreon page and consider supporting to get perks like early access to these videos, and even being consulted on big Shoddycast decisions like who they hire. Thank you all so much for watching. Follow both Shoddycast and I on Twitter in the top right for more content, and until next time, have a nice day.